All right, welcome. We've got a huge announcement for you today. I'm here with my really good friend, longtime friend, Dylan Nonaka, as you all know, who's Dylan is on the show, the Friday show that we have on a regular basis. Of course, I'm your host Peter Kay, and the big announcement for today, and I could not be happier, is as of March 1st, 2024, you folks are now looking at the new owner of the Living in Hawaii properties, Dylan Nonaka. Yes, folks, a big decision, but a lot to talk about, a lot to share. But Dylan, congratulations, buddy. I'm so totally stoked.
Thank you, man. Super honored for your trust and confidence, and just been a super cool experience being a part of this and seeing how it's developed, and very honored to be able to carry the torch and keep moving it forward. And I know we'll talk a little bit more about what that's going to look like. But yeah, thank you very much for your trust and confidence.
Thanks, man. And it's this is so fun. I was talking to a good friend of mine, lifelong friend, guy I went to high school with, and I was telling about kind of how we're kind of working through this transaction over here. And one of the things that I was remarking about it was that, it everything about what we're doing, everything about it, feels so like awesome. So truly pono, right?
Mhm,
Truly,
mhm.
truly pono. The way it went, the way we did it, um, the way we negotiated what the price was, the way it went through, that the fairness of, that was so cool. I mean, the ultimate, it's the ultimate thing. Just speaking strictly on a business transaction basis, the ultimate thing is when you, and you know this from real estate, is when you reach a price that the seller totally feels is fair, that like a dollar more would be too much, and the buyer feels is a deal, right? That is like that's like the best world, so anyway, so I wrote down a few bullet points, and I think I want to cover uh the what, the whys, the hows, etc., of this deal. So the why, Peter, why are you doing this? I wanted to focus, to tell people why I'm doing it. Well, okay, so here's the why, gang. The the why was that, you know what, I'm gonna have Dylan on with me. It doesn't need that.
And maybe you should start with, why did you even start this thing to begin with, for people that maybe came in the last year or two and haven't been around since the very beginning.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thank you. That's a so yeah, so this, thank you, Dylan, for asking that. This whole thing, living in Hawaii, the website, the show, the YouTube channels, all the stuff, the Islander Ohana especially, this was all supposed to be a hobby. I wanted to be, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I'm a serial tech entrepreneur. I've been doing this stuff forever. This was supposed to be a hobby, and a hobby that, my goal was, you know, yeah, I'm an entrepreneur, so it's got to be a business. And so, look, man, if I could pay for my Costco grocery bill, that would be like a huge victory. That's all I care about. If I could pay for the Costco, that would be enough. I really don't want this thing to, and then it turns out that this thing is actually a huge business. It's actually, ultimate value. The ultimate value is like in the millions, because I didn't realize that, and I didn't track it back then, so I don't know if I was ahead of my time. And maybe you folks would know. You guys can tell me. But there's all these living in state. Now, there's living in Nevada, there's living in Florida, and there's living in, Wisconsin. There's all the and these channels are coming up, and they're focusing on content about living in a given state. I don't know if this was around 5 years ago, and I didn't go around to check, but it doesn't matter, because living in Hawaii was like way ahead of its time, and then here it is. And this thing is a big deal, and so there was a big learning here. That there's always a lesson in life, right? We always have lessons. So the big lesson for this one was, you really can have a hobby and a business. You really can. It's it's
It's either
either a
or. It's
hobby,
either or.
it's
Yeah.
either a hobby or a business. Because if it's a business, you've got competition, and you got competition that sees an opportunity, and they're looking at what they can do to beat you, and then you got to come back and beat them. figuratively speaking, of course, you're competing, you're trying to kind of one up the other person, and that's business. That's the business life, and that's the life that we have taken. That's the life that we, as business people, that we've embraced. But I didn't want that. I want to be a hobby. I want to have fun. I want to, I want to drive in my car. I want to drive in the Porsche, man, and talk story about things that are cool in Hawaii. Um, and so because this needed to be a business, this needed to be run by someone who would value it like a business and would invest in it like a business and treat it like a business. And Dylan, there's no one better than you. This was like the perfect, it couldn't be more perfect. I mean, it could not be more perfect. You and I go back 20 plus years, and it's like, man. And a lot of this stuff was actually your ideas. A lot of the real estate parts of this was actually your ideas. Coincidentally, right?
Well,
So yeah,
it
so
wasn't that bright of an idea. I look back. I remember during when COVID started, we would get on a Zoom and we just talk because we were like bored in our offices with nothing to do. And the idea came up one day, like, hey, we should just record this and put this online. And I think people would watch it because we had these great conversations. And that's really the brainchild that started the show anyway, the Living in Hawaii show. So
it it totally was. I mean,
But
I was
but
I
but a
was
lot of credit to you for taking it to the next level because it wasn't just recording a Zoom session like you do see people do, and people watch, consume that, but you really took it to the next level and had some production quality to it and some audio, some visual to it, and some structure. So it wasn't just us babbling on for an hour. And so yeah, it was a cool synergy that just all came together and really has turned into something that's it's been really special for a lot of people's lives. And that's the coolest part about being a part of it, right? Is the impact you have on people's lives.
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, thanks, man. And the impact of people's lives that you're bringing up is really important, and that kind of that gets me into the how, kind of where we go from here. What comes to mind is, yes, it's so the I'm so like totally like happy to see how the Islander Ohana has had such a huge impact on the people that have joined the Islander Ohana. It's a big group now, relatively speaking, and there's a lot of people, and the stories are fantastic. And that brings me, I can't tell you the kind of satisfaction that I get. Like Judy, who comes on the show, and she's always there to always say, "Hey, this has been amazing." Uh, and I got a bunch of, there's so many stories, and I can name so many names, and so I'm not going to, because there's a certain degree of privacy with the Islander Ohana, so, but the people that have told me the experiences and how it's helped them, have a sense of a true sense of Ohana here in Hawaii, how it's helped them uh, adjust to the culture, acclimate to the culture. That's been an amazing thing. And so I did want to tell everybody on the how, the most important thing that everyone needs to know is, we don't have all the details here right now, but I definitely plan on staying involved to some degree with the company. What the degree is, me and Dylan haven't even talked about that yet, in details, right? You're not, but
I think
I
the short story is in the near term, everything's gonna feel and look the same. I mean, there's not gonna be any dramatic changes, nothing really big. It's just we're gonna put a renewed effort into increasing the impact and becoming more valuable, delivering more value to the folks that consume the content. But yeah, in the near term, everybody don't worry, nothing big's gonna change. Peter's not being fired or anything like that. So it's not a hostile takeover or anything. So
Oh, thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you so much for sharing that. And in that light, my personal top priority is to make sure that the transition that we're going to be doing is completely smooth. I mean, this is, you know the term, this is my baby. It's not my baby. It is my creation, and I do want to honor it as well. I want to honor that creation by making sure the transition over to your team is as solid, and they've been awesome, is as solid and as smooth as possible. I want that. And I'm I'm work this hard. I'm not just going to walk away and like walk away from it. And so that, and
And I
in
think that's maybe it's inside baseball. It's important. It's an important point to comment on is what people see online and all the resources that you've built. I mean, there's so much love and detail that has gone into that, and I think that's why it's successful, is because people can feel that it's not just the technical aspects, but what you don't see is there's a ton of technical aspects behind the scenes that help create the content, automate the content, deliver the content. There's a lot of things that I think a lot of times we take for granted when we even myself looking in from the outside before we've kind of dug into this thing. And I really want to acknowledge, how much expertise goes into that, how much skill goes into that, but then also how smooth it has been in terms of the organization. I mean, my crew is in awe at how everything is step by step, and there's videos, and there's documentation, and it really speaks to the quality of the product that you've built. But then, it's everything you do really, the quality and the detail and the care shines through. And even in this process, I mean, I've very much appreciated that, because it's making it a lot easier. There's a lot to learn. It's a huge learning curve, you guys. I mean, Peter's a tech guy, and he has tons and tons of years, decades of expertise in that. And to just kind of, if you were just to dump this onto somebody, it would be a mess. And so it's not that. And I'm very much appreciative of that. So thank you, Peter.
Hey, I really appreciate you saying that. And now that you did, I have to say one of the things that I did enjoy in building this, because it was a hobby in my view, as I was building it. I was not building a business. It was a hobby that I was exploring. What I did allow myself to do, because I am a tech guy, I have a deep tech background. I've started up nothing but technology companies over my 40-year history. Um, I did actually allow myself a luxury that you don't normally allow yourself when you're operating in business. And the luxury I allowed myself to go deep into the rabbit hole, deep into the rabbit hole of an operation. So I sat there with a given operation, and I would spend hours, days upon days, to refine this one thing, just to get this one thing exactly, precisely the way I wanted it. And I would have never done that if I was operating a business, because it would have been way too expensive, way too much investment, cost benefit analysis, this, or the client would have never paid that much, etc. But for me, I was like, you know what I mean? The client would have never paid that. Man, no one would have ever paid this much to get this stuff done. But for me, I didn't care, because I was like really loving the moment of exploring. Hey, there's this new technique. What can I do to make this work? And I mean, countless hours, but and this is maybe a lesson for anyone who it resonates with. The lesson, the giveaway lesson for me was that, because I was enjoying it, I really enjoyed in spending the time. Truly enjoyed spending the time. So it wasn't like, oh my God, this is taking up so much of my time. It was like, man, this is so cool. I put my head down, at 6 a.m. and I didn't take my head up until like 2 in the afternoon. I didn't even know what the hell happened. Right? It was like timeless. So
That's
yeah.
There's a lot of wisdom in that probably the best stuff to recreate is not because of the money or the credit, right? If you want to really create something special, you got to do it because you love doing it. So it's definitely a manifestation of that.
Yeah, it was totally cool, and so I really enjoyed that. So um I think, I think I've pretty much told everybody what I wanted, what's happened, the why, and the how. This is still my creation, and I'm so happy to pass it on, but I'm going to make sure it's all working. And I'm I am, I got to tell you too, Dylan. I mean, again, like you and I have talked about this from one way or another, and I don't know, the future is always, as Yoda says, the future is always in motion, right? We don't know what's going to happen, but I truly am looking forward to working with you guys and the team, to whatever capacity that we all decide, whatever that is. I don't know what the hell that's going to be, but I think it's going to be pretty cool. I think it'll be pretty cool. I don't know for sure,
Definitely.
but I think it'll be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
cool.
would close with, I think it's important for everybody to know, and I know I've expressed this to you personally, from the very beginning of this, it was always very, very important, highest priority for me to honor the vision of what you started. And I think that's, and the team that's now taking this over understands that we've talked about that deeply with them, that at the end of the day, that the mission is always the guiding light, right? The vision is always the guiding light. And if you change that and you try and adjust it, you don't get the same type of results. So just know that's always Peter's vision from the beginning is the highest priority for us to honor and continue. And that's something that we'll continue to need feedback from the audience and the folks that participate in this. Is, are we doing that, right? Are we doing that, or are we doing it at the highest level possible? Because that's going to be our ultimate goal. So look forward to your engagement from the audience side of it, and definitely look forward to whatever this looks like going forward with you, Peter. I mean, it's going to be good no matter what it is. I know that for a fact. We got lots of years behind us that prove that. So thank you again for the vote of confidence and the trust with your creation. I'm not gonna call it your baby. I'll call it your creation.
Thanks, man. I couldn't be happier. So I think that's about it, folks. We're gonna all be in touch. We'll always be available. You can always reach us around the newsletter. The replies work, the emails work. Everything's there. Nothing, like Dylan says, nothing has changed. It's all still there. And so feel free to send some feedback, comments, emails, whatever. We'd love to have it. But to our new future, Dylan. To our new future.
To the next era. Yes, awesome.
To the next era. Amen. All right, folks. Aloha.
Thanks, everybody.